I don't know for sure that I can get the right gauge and make it look okay. I'm about halfway through the short rows. It's good for me to level set a little bit with this project. I can't get over these colors. I really like how engaged I have to be with every stitch. The thing about casting this on is I already have 2 sweaters going. Welcome to Monday. This week, I want to cast on some of my spring knitting projects and work on as many of them as I can. In fact, I've already cast on one of them, which is my Viola tee by Rania Hecoletto. This is a colorwork tee, and I actually don't knit colorwork very often, so this has been a really fun project. I cast this on just a couple days ago, and I'm already maybe a quarter of the way or 1/3 of the way through the yoke, so I'm making good progress. I'm having a lot of fun with this one. I love the colors that I chose. This one has been planned, I think, since last fall, so I'm really excited to finally have this on the needles and hopefully off the needles pretty soon. My main color that I'm using here is BC Garn Bio Balance, which is a cotton merino yarn that I've been really excited to try. It feels really nice so far, and I am knitting it with this superwash yarn, so maybe not the best combination, but I fell in love with this color. This is a Trilogy Yarns Superwash Merino. It's in the color Orange Slice. And then I'm also using this leftover skein of Madeline Tosh Euro Sock in the colorway Porcelain. This is a really old one. I think it's discontinued, but I just really liked all of these colors together. I think it is a really pretty yoke. I think it's gonna make a great t-shirt. Here's my swatch. I ended up having to go down a needle size actually for my color work, which is pretty abnormal for me. This is my swatch with the needle that the pattern called for, and it was just a little bit too loose, so I went down a size. I typically knit my color work pretty tightly, and I always try to loosen up my floats. I do knit colorwork inside out, which helps, but I was surprised that I had to go down a needle size. My next project I have not even swatched for, so that will be a goal this week, is to swatch for it and potentially cast it on. We'll see where I'm at, because I don't typically like to have too many projects going at once, but I plan to knit the Umbria Summer Top by Cookie the Knitter, and I am going to be using this Knitting for Olive cotton merino. I feel like this summer is all about trying out cotton merino blends for me. I've tried several cotton linen yarns in like the past couple of summers, and this year I really wanted to try some of the wool and cotton blends just to see what I think of them. This is my main color. I have decided to stripe the top. It's not striped in the pattern, but I've just wanted to add stripes. And this is in the colorway Blueberry Ice Cream. It's this really pretty like periwinkle blue. It's got like a purple hue to it, but it's still definitely a blue, especially if you compare it to the like lavender behind me. And then I want to do some micro stripes of these colors. This is like a somewhat cool toned brown. This is in the colorway Mole. And then I also have this red that is definitely a bright red, but it is a little bit more orange toned than like a fire truck red, and this is in the colorway Red Currant. But I just really liked all these colors together, so this will be really fun to swatch for. I am like probably the most excited for this project. The next project that I want to work on this week is my Larch pullover. This is a pattern by Paula Lemme. It is a half fisherman's rib yoke sweater. It's knit from the bottom up in a sport weight yarn. It does have the vibes of the Anchors sweater by Petite Knit. I have knit a baby version of that sweater, but I liked the fisherman's rib of this better, so I wanted to knit this instead for myself. And I'm actually about halfway through this project because I have knit the bottom of the body and the sleeves on my knitting machine. The knitting machine is a recent thing for me. This is actually my first project using it, and I will be hand knitting the yoke, but here's what I was able to get done on the knitting machine. This is two panels, the front and the back of the body, that I have seamed together. So it is just a stockinette body in the round at this point. This is the rib that I decided to go with. It is a mock rib because I don't have a ribber attachment for my knitting machine. So I'm just working with what I got for now, but I was able to get this done relatively quickly. I think my next project on the knitting machine will go much faster. This one took me, I would say about a week of figuring everything out, but definitely faster than hand knitting all of this stockinette. I love the idea that I can knit the boring stockinette parts on my knitting machine and then hand knit the fun parts like a yoke. So here are the sleeves. I went for the same mock rib for the cuffs and I just knit them flat and hand seamed them up. They do look a little bit short to me. This is to pattern. My stitch gauge was practically spot on with the gauge of the pattern, but my row gauge was just a little bit shorter. So I did adjust the shaping for the sleeves and then you just knit for a certain length. So this is to pattern, but it does look a little bit short to me. This is definitely an experimental project though. If it doesn't turn out perfectly, that's okay. I am using Rowan Felted Tweed yarn, which is a little on the scratchy side to me. It's not my favorite to wear. So if this doesn't turn out to be the most wearable sweater, I'm okay with that. But what I want to do this week is put all of the stitches on my needles and attach the sleeves to the yoke and get started on that. And I really like this color. I think the colorway is Pickle, but I believe it is a discontinued color. I did get this from a D-stash. Color is 155. And the last project of my spring plans that I want to work on this week, at least a little bit, is my spinning project. I did talk about this in my spring plans video, but I am doing a combo spin for the Jaunty shawl. This one is a BFL from Hello Yarn in the colorway Bonbons. This one is from Yarn Jam. This is their Confetti Tweed. Shanico in the colorway Neon Sunset. And then this is a little 2-ounce braid from Fat Cat Knits. This is a Targhee and the colorway is Maya Blue and it's one of their repeatable colors. So I'm doing a 3-ply and I just got started not too long ago, so I don't have much spun yet, but I would really like to get back to this project. So that is what I'll be working on this week. Happy Monday. And I will see you as the week goes on. I hope you enjoy hanging out. It's going to be a very rainy, cold week, which is great news for a knitter who just finished a sweater that has mohair in it. Not so great news for everyone who's excited about spring, but the sun just came out. It has been fully overcast all day, like really dark outside, and now it's so bright. What I would like to do next is start on my larch pullover. So I'm gonna pull up the pattern. When you join everything together, the pattern has you placing some stitch markers, and it also instructs you to leave a few stitches at the end of the row unknit for both the body and the two sleeves. But since I did it on a machine, I didn't do any of those things. So what I'm going to do is find the middle of the back. So I'll just divide the total body stitches by 4. My original idea was to then knit around so that I could have the yarn attached and also leave those last few stitches unworked. I don't know for sure that I can get the right gauge and make it look okay. So I'm just gonna go down to a US 2 or a 2.75 millimeter needle because I knit my original stockinette swatch on a US 3. I think that's a 3.25 millimeter. And it was just a little bit too loose. You can see here's my machine knit swatch versus my hand knit swatch. So despite going down 3 needle sizes for my hand knit swatch, I was still too loose. And I think that's why this sweater worked particularly well on the knitting machine, is because it has such a tight gauge. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I will go down a needle size and try to match the machine knit gauge as best as I can. All right, so I'm just gonna start from my edge here where I seamed and count across half of the back. 2, 4, 6, 8. So I actually needed to be at the underarm, not the center back, which makes sense because this is where I will be attaching the sleeves. So I have knit to the middle of the underarm, which is right where I seamed up the sweater, and I've put these stitches on hold, and then I'm going to knit across or around the first sleeve. And there are also stitches that you put on hold for the sleeve, so that is where I will be connecting the sleeve to the sweater body. I think I will be grafting that. Yes, you do graft the underarms just using the Kitchener stitch method, so this is seeming very standard so far. Last night I got pretty far into the yoke. There are quite a few short rows for the back that you knit across the back and over the sleeves. So there's a lot of stitches to knit back and forth. I'm about halfway through the short rows. I'm knitting this on a 2.75 millimeter, and then I'm actually knitting my purl rows on a 2.25 so that I don't mess up the gauge with my looser purl rows, since I am trying to get as close to the machine knit gauge as I can. I think it's looking really good actually. I haven't blocked it yet, of course, and blocking will definitely help, but knitted fabric is pretty forgiving, so as long as I'm in the ballpark, I don't think you'll be able to notice that part of this was hand knit and part machine knit. So there's just a lot of stitches to be worked at this point. I'm in that stage with bottom up yoke sweater where you're just knitting what feels like 1,000 stitches, but it is so nice that I didn't have to knit the body and the sleeves myself. Well, I knit them myself, but not by hand. There is still a lot of work involved with the machine. I do still need to swatch the half fisherman's rib, so I think that's what I'll do tonight. I am not sure if I'm going to swatch on a 2.75 or a 2.25. I feel like I should probably just go all the way down to the 2.25, which is a US 1, which feels a little not great to knit an entire yoke on a size 1 needle, but that might be what I have to do to get gauge. We just got done with a bunch of chores. It is now just past 8 p.m. and I think we're just gonna hang out on the couch for the rest of the night. I'm still working on my swatch. I knit half of it on a 2.75, a US 2, and it's just a little too loose. This is supposed to measure 4 inches across. It measures around 4.25 inches, and this is unblocked, but I can tell that this just looks too loose and sloppy. I realized that the way the half fisherman's rib is knit in this pattern is actually the other side, like the wrong side, at least with the way that I know how to knit it. So I'm trying to show you what the other side looks like. And obviously the lighting is not great, but hopefully you can just get a better idea that the wrong side here is like the neater looking side. And then if I go back to what is considered the right side, it just looks a lot sloppier. However, I am pretty sure I understand why the designer chose the wrong side of the half fisherman's rib. It's because it's a lot less purling in the round, which is understandable. And I don't necessarily like love purling, but I also don't love the way that this looks. And so I thought I might just knit it with the other side out, which would involve a lot more purling on my end, but would look much neater to me. However, I decided to swatch down a needle size first because I wanted to see if that looks better. And I know that I already need to go down a needle size. And so that's where I'm at right now. So I've just started swatching this top section here with 1 needle size down, and I already think this looks so much better. And I think I might just go with this actually, because it does look a little bit, it looks different. For sure the opposite side looks closer to like straight brioche or full fisherman's rib, but I actually do kind of like the not as like crisp and clean look of this rib. And I mean, if you look at the original sample, it is knit with this pattern out, like facing out. It's not like she wrote the pattern differently than she knit it. And clearly I liked the design when I chose to make it. So I think I will just stick to the pattern, and hopefully I'm on gauge with this needle. I remembered that I had a 2.5 needle. I think this is perfect because the 2.25, the US 1, was a little bit too small when I initially started swatching with that one. So I think this will be the sweet spot. That was kind of a lot to talk through my decision making when I haven't even finished this swatch yet. So I'm gonna finish the swatch. I don't actually know if I'll check in again for the rest of the night. Last night I rewatched Ready or Not. It's been a long time since I've seen that movie. I watched it like early COVID days, really liked it. And now they're coming out with a second one. Well, it's already out, but I haven't watched it yet. So I wanted to rewatch the first one in preparation. It's just a hilarious movie. We had crazy hail earlier, so that was fun. I had to like run outside and check everything and make sure that our gutters were working properly and that everything was okay. All right, I'm gonna get back to this. I'm really hoping that I'm on gauge here. Happy pit day! That was how my coworker opened our meeting this morning. I'm gonna be emotionally devastated when the show is over. Luckily, we do get another season in less than a year, so we will be fed. I feel like I'm very close to the camera, like maybe I should be back here. I'm still working on the short rows, and I feel like the pace is setting my expectations for the rest of the yoke pretty well, because I did think this was gonna go a little bit faster than it is, but it's fine. It's good for me to level set a little bit with this project and accept that it's gonna take a while. But I am having fun so far. I'm very excited to get to the yoke, and I think you can kind of see it taking shape, and the back here has these extra rows, which is just really gonna help it sit better on the body. My swatch is still drying. I kind of forgot about it. I started blocking it this morning and then I left it in water all day, but it is now drying. Right now it is measuring the correct gauge, so that's awesome. I'm anticipating it's not going to change too much as it dries, but I'll obviously check that. Other than that, I have been working on my color work Violet. I got a little, I don't know, maybe like 4 or 5 rows into it since I last showed it to you. So this has been really fun. I do get into a groove with color work and I always forget how much I enjoy it. I really like how engaged I have to be with every stitch. It makes it really fun to work on. But I do have to like look at my knitting for the majority of the time. So if I'm watching a show or something, I feel like I'm kind of missing things. I should really switch to an audiobook. I just finished a romance book that I was listening to. It is called Forget Me Not by Julie Soto, and it was okay. I ended up enjoying it quite a bit. I thought I was gonna DNF it about halfway through, but I stuck with it and I ended up liking it. 2 projects that I have not worked on yet this week that I really wanted to was my Umbria summer top swatch. So I think I'm gonna do that tonight just so that I can at least get this swatched and see what it looks like and be ready to cast it on when I want to. The thing about casting this on is I already have 2 sweaters going, and I feel nothing wrong about casting on another sweater. It's just that I don't want to. Like, as much as I am excited about this sweater, I am also really liking the projects that I'm working on right now, and I do want to be working on them. It's not until I reach the like 75 to 85% complete stage of a project that I start to lose my motivation. So right now, like I'm doing really well as far as staying motivated to work on these projects, and I just kind of don't want to add another thing to work on, but I do want to at least swatch for it. I just might not cast it on yet. And then I haven't done any spinning either. That's one of those things where if I put away my e-spinner, it's currently right there, it is a little bit of a barrier to like get it back out and set it up, even though it's so easy to do. Maybe tomorrow I will get back on that, because tonight I am cooking. It's just me tonight, but I'm gonna make this like chili crisp cabbage stir fry thing. Where's my phone? The recipe is called Chili Crunch Ground Beef Bowls, but I'm gonna sub tofu for the ground beef. It is by, I think this is a content creator that I found a few weeks ago called Jen Eats Good. I will link the recipe. Hopefully it's good. So my tofu is pressing. I am debating doing my nails right now, but I don't know if I want to devote the time it takes to do that tonight. Oh, and the sun is back out. We've had the craziest weather this week. It is just full spring weather where you have no idea what's gonna happen. Okay, I have an hour and a half till the pit. So I think I will make my food and knit a swatch. chili crunch tofu bowl. I also made myself a gin and tonic. It's good. I feel like it's maybe missing like one flavor, probably because I subbed in the tofu. It's good. I just got done filming a little Q1 update, chatting about all the things that I have finished recently. There's my pile of stuff. Don't pay attention to my floors that we need to refinish desperately. It is Friday evening. I logged out of work. I got some filming done. Feeling good. The sun is out today. I've been trying to film this update video for I think 2 weeks now. I really wanted to film it last weekend and we were just way too busy. And so it's one of those things where if I want to film for a big chunk of time, I have to do it on the weekends. And if our weekends are busy, I just don't get the opportunity to film, and we've had such packed weekends. So I squeezed it in. I've had a roast in the crock pot going all day and it smells amazing. I can't wait to eat it. In the meantime, I want to show you my swatches that have fully dried. So here's this one. The 2.5 millimeter is on gauge, so that's great for me. Very excited to get to the yolk on this one. And then I also swatched for the Umbria top, as you saw. And here is the finished blocked swatch. I can't get over these colors. So this was my gauge swatch, and then also I wanted to swatch the stripes. Oh my god, so I painted my nails today as well. I've just been very productive. I also got some laundry going and I cleaned the kitchen. I'm gonna do some vacuuming later. It's been a very productive Friday. But I did my nails and I was like, why am I getting drawn to this color? Like, why don't I want a bright spring color instead? And I realized I'm totally being influenced by this project. It's not the exact same color, but it's pretty close. I also did another little swatch. These are still precariously on the needles, but I did a little swatch of a different stripe sequence. So this is actually what I originally had in mind when I bought these colors. I thought I would put the red stripe in between 2 brown stripes. But when I started this one, I realized I actually might like this better. This is looking like a little too heavy. I could increase the space of the blue, so like just do more blue rows in between to try to balance it out, but I think I actually just like this. I just prefer the way that this stripe sequence looks. It's just 2 stripes of the brown and 2 stripes of the red. And then I think I did 8 stripes of the blue in between. So I will let this cook and decide later, but I had a lot of fun working with this yarn. I'm just really into the cotton merinos this year. The BioBalance cotton merino that I'm knitting with right now is lovely, and this just knit like a dream. I think this is gonna be such a nice garment to wear. I'm so excited. And it was honestly really fun to work with. I did decide to go down a needle preemptively just based on my experience with needle sizes and trying to get a certain gauge. I have not measured this swatch yet, but it is looking a little loose, which might be really nice to wear in the summer. Now I gotta clean everything up. There's just yarn and projects everywhere. That is just what happens anytime I film a longer video. It is now Monday again, and I'm here to close out the vlog. We had a very busy weekend, and I really didn't do any crafting, so I stopped filming, but I do have a little bit more to show you. I did do some spinning on Friday. Finally got back to my wheel, my e-spinner, and I started spinning some of the Shanico for my combo spin. It is such a pretty colorway. There's a lot of texture in this braid, and it's quite fun to spin. I'm very excited to see what this looks like spun up into the final skein. My larch has been on my mind for the past couple of days. I've just been thinking about what I want to do with the yoke because, as you have seen, I've gotten to this stage and I did finish the short rows. So I'm ready to start the yoke, but I think I have flipped again on the half fisherman's rib. I think I do want to knit it right side out instead of what the pattern is telling you to do. It just looks better with the right side out, and if I knit it the other way around, I fear that I may always look at it as if it's backwards or inside out. So there's the other side for comparison. I found a really helpful blog post from somebody who shows all the different ways that you can knit half fisherman's rib, and they also compare half fisherman's to brioche. I definitely recommend checking that out if you want to dive deeper into half fisherman's rib. There's a couple different ways that you can knit it. You can either knit it into the stitch below, which is what this pattern calls for, or you can do a slip-on yarn over like you would for brioche. The difference between half fisherman's rib and fisherman's rib or brioche is that you're not doing the knit one below or the slip one yarn over every single row. So that's why it's called half fisherman's rib. And I think I'm just not gonna feel right about it if I knit it inside out. So I will plan to alter the pattern and make a decision on if I want to do the knit one below or the slip one yarn over technique. And an update on my viola tee. I made it through the next motif. So now I'm working on a section that is just going to be the very light pink and the black. It's a little scrunched on my needles, but I'm definitely making some good progress. Colorwork yokes are so much fun to knit. I just want to keep working on it. And I think I'm about to hit another increase row, so I'll probably switch to a larger cable. And I'm loving these colors. Obviously, big fan of the bright pinkish orange. Definitely let me know what projects you are working on right now, what you're most excited about, or if you are planning on casting on anything new. I want to know what you're working on, and I'll see you again in another video soon.